Clips, clips. And remember, citizens, subscribe, hit the bell, everything will be well. In 1995, we'll keep you out of hell. Right, let me turn everything on. Getting ready for the bull crap. And we have channel 3. Oh, it's not live, you see. Or is it live? No, give me.
Coming up at 7, join us for the ITV debate as the 5 candidates vying to be Conservative Party leader and Britain's next Prime Minister battle it out live on the issues that matter to you. Who's got the best ideas, the best character, and who can we trust? We'll see you after the break.
Sorry, I was a wee bit late. I had technical issues. Couldn't finish my chow mein for last night.
From home way.
Quick enough.
The car dealers bid to give you the best price way.
Oh, I need one
So
of
you
this
could
shit.
get up to £1,000.
Now, this should be fun, y'all. Remember, if you do appreciate it and all that jazz, stick a wee thumbs up. That is much
This
appreciated.
is the way to sell your car.
Buy me a
This
pint.
is the motorway.
I mean, it'll go towards my
Hey,
college
Barry
fund.
here. I joined GiftGaff in 2011 and I've stayed ever since. What I love is there's no stress. The value and flexibility is fantastic.
And I
They've
don't know
also
about you
fixed
guys,
UK prices this
can you
year,
see like
so
a
even if
weird
my bills go up
circle on
elsewhere,
my camera?
I've got one less thing to worry about. Thanks, GiftGaff. After
Let
11
me
years,
show
I'm
yous.
still in the right place.
With flexible
This-
plans,
that is
great
the
value,
reason why I was
and
a bit
fixed
late.
UK prices for 2022. GiftGaff
Can
is
you
back.
see the weird fucking
Visit
weird?
Legoland
Look, you can
and
see it in my
fly the
hands quite clearly.
Skyline on the Flying Theatre Ride, where Lego creatures
This
come to
thing,
life.
I really-
Lego Mythica, a world of mythical creatures at the Legoland Windsor Resort.
Wow, that
And
just
new
seemed
for
to solve it. I don't know why.
discover the magical forest.
I'm not gonna
an
question it.
interactive walkthrough.
That's my weird
At
style.
BP, we're here for
Tried
pit
that
stops
before.
and food
Rubbing
shops,
it like a lamp.
for filling up and recharging,
Right.
for
Oh
rewards
no, that's not what I
and
wanted
treats.
to do. This is what I'm looking for.
Maya, did you put those in the basket?
BP, here for all
There
of
we go, I
life's
think that's a
journeys.
wee bit better, isn't it? Doing it live!
Summer!
Doing it
with
live,
Jet
doing it
Two
live,
holidays.
doing it
Now's the
live!
time to get away. So come on. Discover amazing sunny destinations.
I just need to remember to turn this shit back on. I'm just worried about Cyber Prince. More sure people. LST News. In the evening, gentlemen. The good biscuits. I'm hoping that it will be DVR ability on this stream. Because I could have definitely, hold on, I might even try and get it as a backup. Woohoo! Battle to become Britain's next Prime Minister. What a fucking TV programme that is. I don't know about you, I want Alan Carr. I think he'll be funniest. Or Little Hitler, or the new Maggie Thatcher. My God. Hey, or the Romulan. I don't know if he's caught my thumbnail, but I thought my thumbnail was pretty funny. It's like an AA meeting, isn't it? I'm Liz Truss. I'm an alcoholic. Vote for me for the Conservative leader. I'm pretty sure every single one of them's pretty much saying that exact same shit. There's Alan Carr. He's got his glasses on. The picture I done in the thumbnail, he had his glasses off. But now with his glasses on, he looks even more Alan Carr-like. Yay! Ooh. See, you could imagine her as like the disciplinarian teacher. Or some people might be able to. A tsunami of resignations! Everything's so sensationalised bullshit, man. Bring Bobo back. Bring Bobo back. That's what I say. Bring Bobo back. More entertaining than all these clowns. I want my politicians to be just like my coffee. No. Ooh. ITV debate. Uh-oh. Alan Carr. Hey, who'd have funked it? Who'd have thought Alan Carr would have got into politics? Maybe he wants to sort out the dentist crisis. Shit. See, this would be worthwhile listening to if there was ever a politician at any point when they're doing stuff like this ever carried out their promises or any manifestos they may write or say. It's redonkulous.
This something for nothing economics isn't conservative, it's socialism.
Under your plans, we are predicted to have a recession because you have raised tax, it is cutting back on growth, it is preventing companies from investing, and it's taking money out of people's pockets. That is no way to get the economy going during a recession.
OK, let me bring in Penny Mordaunt here into this.
I think, well, I disagree with Rishi. I think you can, the tax cuts I've outlined are not inflationary. But I think people listening at home will be looking at us debating these issues. And it seems that we're removed from the real problems that they are facing. They need some immediate action now. I don't understand why Rishi doesn't accept that. But I also think there's things we can do that don't cost any money. Making things work better for people. That's why I've introduced the childcare policy that I have. Making tax simpler so that it reduces the cost that businesses are having to pay just to be tax compliant. There's many things we can do.
Kemi Bader,
Thank you, Julie. I think what we're seeing in the discussion that's taking place is that there are no easy options. There are no solutions, only trade-offs. When I was working in the Treasury, it was always a choice between difficult option A, terrible option B, mad option C. And we need to be honest with the public about how difficult things are. The government can't solve everything, and we need to do better in terms of the way that we fix things.
Can I just come back on Penny's question, Julie, if that's
well, the mad
all right.
options in the Treasury, then, just briefly, Rishi Sunak, on that point about mad options in the Treasury that Kemi Bader
mad suggestions that people were putting forward, certainly, yes.
From the outside, I think Kemi was saying when we worked together, she knows what those are like. But can I just respond to Penny's point?
Well, it sounds like they're being more restrained because they got into trouble for
one of the last things I did as Chancellor
each other
was announce
alive.
significant support, specifically targeted on the most vulnerable in our society, because they're the ones that need our help most. But if I could just come back to Penny on one thing, because I think I heard, Penny, you on the TV this morning saying that you were going to scrap one of my rules, that the government shouldn't borrow for day-to-day spending. Now, look, it's one thing to borrow for long-term investment, but it's a whole other thing to put the day-to-day bills on the country's credit card. And we know how that ends. It's not just wrong, it's dangerous. And you know what? Even Jeremy Corbyn didn't suggest that we should go that far.
Well, too many chancellors have had too many fiscal rules that they have then had to ditch because they haven't been able to meet them. I think you have to accept that we are in an unprecedented situation. We are going to have to do more for people to help with the cost of living. Where we really need to concentrate is on growth. And under your tax
and as I said in the comments, they solved World Hunger as well.
You're generally proposing that we borrow to fund our day-to-day spending, putting those bills on a credit card. Literally, Jeremy Corbyn didn't think that that was the right approach.
I'm just going to pause it there, bring it back to the question, which was, what is your big idea to immediately ease the unprecedented cost of living crisis people are facing?
I don't know if ad hominem attacks is the right way to explain it. I prefer to explain it like it's like monkeys flowing shit at each other. Alan Carr!
Coming down the track on their energy bills, absolutely terrifying.
Well, look, we're all looking at energy bills at the moment, and I can tell you what mine are, and I can certainly tell you that many people in the community I represent are feeling it. And they're feeling it because what are we seeing? We're seeing chaos abroad. We're seeing increasing trouble from Russia. We're seeing increasing trouble coming from overseas, driving up the cost of energy, driving up the cost of inflation. We need to be absolutely clear that this isn't just about an immediate fix, and I've already set out a few areas where we should, like cutting fuel duty and making sure that welfare works better and smooths out that progress from welfare to work. But it's actually more than that. It's about defending the podium like making sure that what we're trying to do is get ourselves into a position where we're helping families so that they can grow their economy and they can grow their own lives.
When it comes to public services,
those that are supporting your camp, Liz Truss, a question
or
of the
what
Bank
is
of England's
considered public
in what,
services,
its impact
and
on
the people who
inflation.
should
Can I just be
decide
clear on
what is
one
and
thing?
is
Are
not
you
a public
suggesting
service
you ought to think about
should be the
changing
public.
mandate for the Bank of England? And
So
its
the public should vote whether they want
support
the
the Bank of
railway
England's
nationalised,
I
and
think we
every
need to look at the best
every
practice around
penny
the
of
world.
taxpayers'
The countries
money
who've been most
that goes into
successful
the
at controlling
railways
inflation.
goes
We need
to
to look at the
fucking
mandates they
services.
have. For example, the
Same with the
banking of Japan.
NHS.
So the last time
so
the mandate
on,
was
so
set was in
on and so forth.
1997. In
And the
completely
people
different
should
times.
decide
And we
what,
have to look at where we are now, Julie.
what should
we
be
are in
what
unprecedented economic
areas,
times, and the business as
private
usual
entities
economic
to make
strategy
profit should be
that we
allowed
have at
in
the moment
to,
simply
and
isn't
what
working for
they
the people
shouldn't
of
be.
Britain. It simply isn't bold enough to deal with the crisis we're
That's
in.
what I think.
And we've seen slow growth for decades. We need to do different. We need to be bolder, and we need to take on Whitehall.
I will
And in my role as Foreign Secretary, I'm prepared to drive things through, and I'm prepared to get things done. And that's why I would do a good job.
I just want to bring in Kemi Badenoch very briefly there, quickly.
Do you want to know the scary thing, Groovy Dodger? We're looking at one of these idiots in front of us as our new leader, as our new master.
We haven't been marking their homework. The people
No
who
ifs,
sit on
no
the
buts,
Monetary
no
Policy Committee
maybes,
are
no
human beings.
general
They're not
election.
perfect. We need to be bolder at challenging orthodoxy and getting things working properly.
Is it time to relook at the Bank of England? Are they to blame for some of the inflation we've been witnessing
No,
and
and I've been
experiencing?
actually
It's the
worried
Jews!
by some of the things I'm hearing from supporters of other candidates, because the Bank of England's track record over the 25 years of independence is that inflation has averaged 2%. So everybody watching should actually feel confident that the people in charge of this will have a grip of the situation and get inflation
Go and
back
look at
down.
the thumbnail
But I
for
just
this
wanted
video.
to go back on
He
one thing
is
that Liz
a
was asking about
Romulan.
growth, and I do have a plan for growth, and it involves three
No
things:
ifs,
investment,
no buts, no
innovation, and
maybes.
education.
Straight out of fucking
because
Star
if you
Trek.
want better jobs and
No makeup
higher paid
needed.
jobs, you need to have business investment increase. Innovation, because we have always led the world in creating the industries of the future, like life sciences. And education, if I could just finish, an education, because our children's education
Like
today
life
is
sciences,
our
was
economy
that fucking
tomorrow.
the
And if we can get all of that
hugging a
right,
fucking
that's how we
tree? Is
drive
that what
If
life
he's got an
sciences is?
ambitious plan for growth, why haven't we seen it in his last 2.5 years at the Treasury?
Tom Tugendhat.
Look, I'll leave Rishi to answer his own record, because I'm finding it very difficult to understand who's disowning and who's defending the record of the last few years that they've been in government. It's pretty confusing to me anyway. I think what we need to do is we need to focus on what we're going to do in the future, though, not in the past. And at the moment, we're getting definite promises of jam tomorrow when a lot of people are looking for bread today.
A response to that, Rishi Sunak?
Well, all I'd say, because we're hearing a lot about promises, we've actually got to the point, we should just reflect on this as a Conservative party, where even Keir Starmer is attacking leadership candidates for peddling the fantasy economics of unfunded promises. If we're not for sound money, what is the point in the Conservative Party? It's the most conservative, that's conservative values, and that's what I stand for.
Okay,
it's not a choice between sound money and meeting people's needs and helping the economy grow. I think that the discussions that we're having this evening must be very peculiar to people sat at home. We have layered and layered onto them incredibly complicated support schemes, which took you, Rishi, you did it brilliantly. It was, 2 minutes to just run through the whole list. I know from my background it is incredibly difficult if you can't afford a bus fare, if you don't have a washing machine, if the services you are interacting with are incredibly complicated. We have to simplify this for people, and we have to be more responsive. It's not your fault, Rishi. There's lots of things that need to be sorted at the Treasury. But the fact that your energy package did not take into account people in HMOs is an example of that.
Thank you very much indeed. I'm just going to pivot this question slightly. We've been asking you a lot about your immediate economic
More pigs
plans
at the
to ease
trough,
cost of living.
isn't
A
it,
lot
man?
of people be sitting and looking at their pay packets. Suggestion came from the Prime Minister, it was reported yesterday, of a 5% pay rise for public sector workers, for teachers, nurses, doctors, care workers. Inflation is running at around 10%.
Paul's in the chat saying sound money, so we go back to the gold standard. Now, correct me if I'm wrong in saying this, but Britain came off the gold standard way before America.
Judgments. We have pay review bodies as a process. But there are some things we can do to help our public sector workers. Let me just give you one example. If
Oh,
you're
sorry.
working in the NHS on band 2, you get a new
Something got on
qualification,
my
you want
nose
to
there.
move up to band 3, but you're a woman that's on some of our
There's,
legacy benefits.
nano
You're
drones
prevented from doing that.
coming to
There's
get me.
lots of things that we can do as well as pay levels.
Just bring Tom
And
to the
What we need is the pay review
me
bodies to be
personally,
looking at this and giving their independent advice. That's exactly what they're there
if I was
to do. But
dictator,
we also need to
I wouldn't
recognise
go
that the
back to
government
the
has a role.
gold
The
standard.
government has a role
I
in
know we've
easing
been
the tax
sold
burden
that
and
by a
looking at the
bunch of
welfare
cunts that
system
want to sell
support
you
those who are in
golds,
need.
right?
And that's why
But
the household support fund for those
just
who are
think
most
it
in need
this
is
way.
so important.
What
It
you
has
need to
been a
do
really
is
difficult
break
time
the
for
link.
public sector pay.
Like
We've
it
been having the
actually,
discussion
even it's
about
exactly
raising
what I
their
said
pay for a really
before.
long time, and
The
the fact
bank,
is the
the
economy has
national
not been able to
bank, the
sustain
bank
it.
that
I would
prints
love
the
to tell all
fucking
the public
national
sector workers
currency
they would get 5%,
shouldn't be a
10%,
private
but the truth is
fucking
it's not going to be that
entity
easy.
with
We need to create
fucking
an economy that can fund it,
shareholders.
and I'm not sure we're there yet.
Okay, let's be clear about
Just saying,
this. On this payoff, we're
and
hearing
again,
from
the
unions,
public
the
should
BMA,
vote
it's almost
about
inevitable
what
the path taken will lead
entities
us
and
to direct
sections
collision
of
with the
banking
government.
should and should
The
not be
teachers will be looking to
allowed
ballot their hands in
private
October.
fucking
The nursing
operations,
staff,
and
the
printing
RCN,
their
they feel they have
fucking
no other
money
choice
shouldn't
other
be
than
one of them.
industrial action or strikes.
Judy,
Can I ask, how would you stop the strikes?
Fucking
So I was
people
Chief Secretary to the
profiteering for
Treasury,
fucking interest
negotiating
rates and
these
shit like all this
pay
pish.
and terms with the unions. I think it is very important that the government does stick to our guns, because what we can't have is a wage price spiral. We know what happened in the 1970s when inflation got out of control. We can't go back to that, so we have to be firm. We have to get the best possible deal we can in all aspects of helping our hard-working public sector workers. But what we can't have is these inflationary pay rises that lead to vast problems across the economy, because they'll lead to higher food prices, higher petrol prices, all the other problems people are facing.
I dare say there's probably a degree of unity from all of us on this point. As Tom pointed out, we have a process where we have independent pay sector public review bodies, and they balance the needs for recruitment, retention, what's fair, and also
remember, every single one of these comes from the House of Commons.
I think broadly, I would
Commons
imagine all
isn't
of
just
us
the name made
would
up.
assume
The
that
Commons
that is
means
People will be watching this,
commoners,
and looking at the summer ahead of them,
as
and knowing
opposed
that there are
to
looming
the
strikes
House of
in almost every corner
Lords.
at which you turn. How
And
are
that's
you going
meant
to
to
deal
be your
with that?
three branches of separation
the
of
key to
power:
strikes on
the
this question is to
monarchy,
do with trust.
Lords,
If people
Commons.
trust the government and know that the government is on their side, then people are more willing to go
And
that
these
extra mile and to have that
motherfuckers
negotiation
masquerade
in good faith.
in the
And the absolute
House
key
of
to
Commons
whoever we choose
as
as Prime Minister has got
commoners.
to be somebody who people trust.
I
That's
don't
why
know
I'm
about
arguing
you,
we need
man.
a clean
I know
start.
hunters
Because
of
we need
Alan
somebody who the
Cars
pay
at the fucking end of my
negotiators
fucking
know
street.
is actually on their side throughout all of this. Now, as somebody who's served years in the army, I can tell you that unless you get commanders you trust, you never get the answer you need.
Very briefly.
I think the truth is we need to work better with the unions. We need to show them respect. I worked with the BMA when I was a qualities minister and we had issues around COVID. It is tricky, but if they know that you're on their side and you are trying to get to a good resolution, they will have faith and trust in you.
So an
and I have
idea of getting
experience
on
that.
side with the unions from Kemi Badenoch. Thank you very much indeed on that. We just wanted to touch on that because it's a pressing issue for people watching
If
at
I was
home.
dictator,
A huge amount
I would have
still
money
to be done to help people at
printed
home in many people's
directly
views.
by
Let's
the
just
government
draw a small
no
line under that
interest,
section on the economy. And we're going to move on
and it would be
very
backed
shortly
by the
to
work
talking about
of
why you
the
think
country,
you're the right person
which
to run
would
the
be
country, and we'll be
stimulated
debating
by
that a bit
all
later
the
in the
interest-free
programme. But
money.
first, a little something about your predecessor. If he wished to serve, who here would be happy to have
been
Boris
done before.
Johnson in their cabinet? Please raise your hands. If he wished to serve, would you have Boris Johnson in your cabinet if you were PM? Not a single person would have Boris Johnson back.
I would, man, get him back as PM, bitches.
Well, we are going to go back to that after the break, so hold that thought. Penny Mordaunt, hold all of your thoughts on that issue, but very notable that not a single person raised their hands. And we'll continue to talk about trust
Fix your
and
glasses.
what makes a good Prime Minister after the break. And the candidates will get their opportunity to ask one question to one of their rivals. Don't go away.
Right, I'm muting this shit for you guys. I can still hear it, which is... I'm muting it because adverts have pish. Copyrighted pish. Remember Tommy Robinson was singing that song when he was doorstepping people and all that? Just saying. Oh God, man, our heatwave is just fucking muggy weather, man. We don't even get some blue skies. But no doubt I got a wee bit of sunburn today, although it's still can't see it. I still look like fucking Casper. Hold on, man. Oh no, is that a fucking snot or something? What the fuck is that? Fuck, I've got skin cancer. That tomato sauce for my burger I had earlier on. The fuck is that? I think I've got skin cancer. That's what happens when the global warming hits us. Start dropping down like flies with the old skin cancer. Aye, Jeffrey. Treated myself to a wee pint, my man. Thank you. And remember, folks, I've now got skin cancer, as you can clearly see. So, I now believe in the baby Jesus and donate to me. Because I love baby Jesus. Everybody's lopping up those period dramas. Yes! Woohoo! Bring on the pugil sticks! And turn on the audio. Woohoo! Yeah, baby! Remember that shit.
In their cabinet
Just.
PM. No one raised their hands. I wonder if he's watching tonight. So let's look a little bit more at this
I wonder
issue
if you're
of
watching,
character,
Bobo.
honesty, trust, and ask what qualities makes a good Prime Minister. So the next question that I'd like to put to you all this evening. Many would say that Boris Johnson was ultimately brought down by lies and dishonesty. What about you as a person would make you a better Prime Minister? That's our question that we're going to debate. First of all,
Alan Carr would need to stop doing his Saturday night game show.
Thanks, Julie. It's quite clear that what we've been
Fresh for Saturday night game show.
Of confidence in our government. Our government has been.
See, I was thinking I was going to run with the joke. He just takes his glasses off. He's a bit like Superman. But I didn't realise he does actually wear glasses.
And in Whitehall, that I'm willing to stand up not just to our enemies, but to our friends, and to call out where we need to make changes.
Thank you.
I'm willing to do the same now. I'm ready to serve.
Oh my God, I'm seriously ready for my bed already.
I'm somebody who says what I think. I'm honest. I was brought up in Yorkshire. I say what I mean and I mean what I say. And I'm somebody that when I promise to deliver something,
I heard that one before.
It's one of the reasons I was so concerned about us breaking our manifesto on national insurance is we committed to the British public that we would do it. I might not be the slickest presenter on this stage, but I think my colleagues understand
Exactly,
in
but
Parliament when I work with them that when I say I'll do something,
that's not what
I
it's
do it.
about,
I've shown
no
I can
sugar
deliver
tits.
as Foreign Secretary.
Kemi Badenoch.
Julie, you asked a question about whether we would have the current Prime Minister back in our cabinet. And the reason why I said no is because it's time for change. It was very difficult for me to resign my job last week. It took a lot of courage because I knew what would happen afterwards. And that's one of the things that I show in every aspect of my work, being brave and, more importantly, using that bravery to protect other people. Whenever other people have had difficulty, such as people who I hired who got attacked in the press and in the media, I've always stood up for them.
I've never seen, well, I've never seen her or Maggie Thatcher's face before.
Brexiteers and Remainers, it's time to move on and come back
together.
Thank you, Rishi Sunak.
You know,
I've seen him in every Star Trek episode that's got a Romulan in it.
The debate we had earlier, I want to be honest with the country about the economic challenge that we face and what is going to be required to deal with that. And
I don't want a Romulan in charge, yo. It's just a step too far.
I think it demonstrates to people that I will be honest with them about what lies ahead, and I'll be responsible in dealing with it, even if it's not politically easy. And I think that's what people should expect from their leaders, and that's what I would do.
Thank you. Penny Mordaunt.
Well, you asked
Up
what
the
would
exposure.
make me a better Prime Minister, and it would be a really good team. My whole campaign has been built around building a team. My now legendary campaign video did not feature me at all. It was all about my colleagues, and it was all about the country. And I think our leadership model that we've had in politics is completely
5
broken.
miles,
It doesn't deliver for
24,
people, and we need a new
79
approach.
acres,
I recognise that, and I would look to build a team of all the
11,000
talents in our party.
steps.
Thank you very much indeed for that. The question, many would say Boris Johnson ultimately brought down by lies and dishonesty. What about you as a person will make you a better Prime Minister? Tom Tugendhat, you made a very clear point there. You believe that only a clean start makes sense. Can any of those who serve Boris Johnson's government, those around here, tell them why they shouldn't be doing it and you should?
Well, it's very difficult because, of course, whatever your responsibility was,
I can't take him
whatever your
serious
place
because he's
in
just
that government
Alan
was,
Carr.
Keir Starmer in 2 years' time is going to hold that record against us. And we need to make sure we're winning Conservative seats across the country. And even really good people lent credibility to the chaos.
Kemi Badenoch.
I'm not ashamed of anything we did in government. We have a lot to be proud of. We got Brexit done, and what the Prime Minister did on Ukraine and on vaccines was fantastic. Serving in government is not easy. It requires taking difficult decisions. Tom has never done that. It's very easy for him to criticise what we've been doing, but we have been out there on the front line making the case for why,
Kemi, I have been on the front line.
Right
I've been on the front line
not,
in Afghanistan
not in government,
and Iraq,
not in government.
and I've been on the front line of the argument against Putin and against China. I've changed government policy on this.
But you haven't taken any decisions. It's easy to talk. Talking is easy. Talking is easy.
I have served as Foreign Secretary during the worst war perpetrated in Europe for decades. It was right for me to stay doing my job so we could continue to stand up to Vladimir Putin, we could continue to support Ukraine, and we could work with our international allies. We have led the free world on the response. I think it would have been completely irresponsible of me to leave my post at this vital time, not just for our country, but also for global security.
Was it irresponsible for Rishi Sunak to leave his post? Tell him what you think about that position.
Well, I felt that I owed a duty to our country to continue while we were facing this very serious economic and
Romulan doesn't like that.
Respond to that, Rishi Sunak.
Resigning from government is a really serious thing, and it's a very personal thing. And everyone makes those decisions themselves. For me, I tried to make it work for as long as possible, but it got to the point where, for me, enough was enough. We all saw what happened on the Chris Pincher situation, and it was clear that I had big disagreements with the Prime Minister in terms of being the direction of our economy. But I would just say, what that experience in government has given me means that I'm the only person who has the experience to lead our country through a very significant challenge. That's what I've done for the last 2 years, and that's what I'm going to need now, looking forward as well.
We are all good colleagues, and I think colleagues have done what they felt was right in difficult circumstances. But what we have to learn from this is that what we have been doing previously has not been good enough. We have to all reflect on the failings, not just recent events with Prime Minister, but why we haven't been able to move at the pace that business and science demands, why we haven't been able to give businesses in our communities the opportunities they need. It is not about individual people. It's about the model of politics and government.
OK, but the question was very specifically about character and your personal qualities. And one of the things that I just want to pivot slightly here on is the nature of the debate and the nature of the campaigning that we've witnessed since that extraordinary event 10 days ago. A lot of people are sitting at home looking at this toxic campaign being waged against one another and wondering where that takes us in terms of the future of our politics. Kemi Badenoch, can I just come to you? We're going to touch on the Liz Truss, you wanted to come in.
It's a deep state
I did want to
Illuminati.
come
I'm
in.
telling you, they're on to me.
I believe in the Ronald Reagan dictum that you shouldn't speak ill of a fellow Conservative, and this campaign has to be about the future. We're in a serious situation as a country.
Some of your supporters have, Liz Truss.
A war in Europe and a deep economic crisis. What we can't have now is more business as usual in government, and we need somebody who can go into number 10 on day one and get things done. And that's what I've done throughout my career, whether it's the trade deals, whether it's the response to Ukraine, I've actually got things done and delivered.
People who've been following this campaign from all quarters and all of the different campaigns here will know that your supporters have been calling people out. The language that has been used, the insinuations that have used, they've been accusing Rishi Sunak of disloyalty and worse.
Well, I certainly don't believe in that kind of campaign. It's not the campaign I'm fighting. I'm fighting a positive campaign about the future because I want to unleash the potential.
Are you leading your
British
campaign,
people.
Liz? Are you leading
I'm
your
very
campaign?
clear with people in my campaign that we should be focusing on the core issue which is facing Britain, which is how do we drive up economic growth, which is not just number in a spreadsheet. This is about people's futures, people's jobs, people's opportunities. That is what I'm 100% focused on.
The first campaign meeting I had in this contest, I said to my team, we are going to campaign as we're going to govern. And people want a break with the toxic politics of the past. They want us to be putting forward
We
positive
need Boris
ideas.
Johnson. Bring Bobo back.
And I really hope
these are a bunch of boring
have
bastards.
of this to come.
Nigel
And
Farage, at least him would be entertaining.
Thank you very much indeed for that exchange. I want to come to Rishi Sunak here because
these people are putting me to sleep right now.
Is questions about trust, character, and judgment.
Once you get back by the fact he's a Romulan, she keeps fucking putting her glasses down there to make herself look like I don't know.
So I've always been a completely normal UK taxpayer. My wife is from another country.
Apart from when you were in Romulan fucking bed quarters.
And she resolved that issue.
Fucking Romulans.
There is commentary about my wife's family's wealth.
Coming
so
over
let me
here.
just address that head on. Because I think it's worth
stealing
doing,
our
I'm actually
political
incredibly proud
positions.
of what my
fucking
parents-in-law built. My father-in-law came from absolutely nothing and just had a dream and a couple of £100.
He came from fucking Romuli.
And with that, he went on to
That's
build
why you're a
one of the
Romulan.
world's largest, most respected, most successful companies that, by the way, employs thousands of people here in the United Kingdom. It's an incredibly conservative story. Actually, it's a story that I'm really proud of. And as Prime Minister, I want to ensure that we can create.
If you go to my
more
channel, what
like
you'll see is
All right, thank you very much.
video I done called Democracy, aka Democracy Scam. Choose a clown or die, slave. You know what, a gun to your head you need to choose, you're not allowed to say.
Not least because it was on the front pages, quoting
and I think I broke down the numbers and it's like
yesterday,
15.
However you feel about the Prime Minister, he had a message for all of you on the front page of one of the newspapers
15
yesterday. Whoever
million house
succeeds him
niggers taking
still has to finish the job on Brexit. So, as a reminder
the
for
Conservative
everybody at home,
Party,
could you raise your hands if
got
you
like
voted
an overwhelming
to leave
majority
in
with just
2016?
15 million people
3
voting
voted
for
to
them.
leave, the remainers,
All the
remaining
people's
voters,
balls
Liz
they had to
Truss
tickle
and
in a country of
Tom
66
Tugendhat.
million. Now you can
Penny, if I
break
just
down
come
those
to you
numbers
first,
in a
if you're
million and one different
a true
ways.
Brexit believer, actually to Rishi Sunak too, why are so many key Brexit voices falling in behind Liz Truss?
Well, I think that people had a vision for when they voted back in 2016, but also in 2019. And that was a sense of the country that they felt we could be, about creating more opportunities at home, but also about being a force for good around the world. And I would just point to the fact that I have managed to attract people from across the party, Remainers, Brexiteers, behind my campaign. I've not had the platform that some of the candidates have in this contest, but they're coming to me because actually, unless we can unite and win the next general election, all that we have been through over the last few years will be for nothing.
A year and a half or
It's time to
something,
move on from Brexit.
buddy.
We
Your
left
dentist
the
is
EU.
taking you
It's not unfinished business. We got
patients.
Brexit done.
What about the Northern Ireland Protocol
Now
bill?
it's time to take advantage.
I would say a
of
year
the
and a
opportunities.
half.
We have left the EU. The
And
public
even
is
that's
sick and tired
scandalous,
of
but
us
it's probably
banging on
going to be
about
longer.
Brexit. We need to start talking about the future of our country. And I am the wildcard candidate here. I think a lot of people cannot move on from it. It's time for us to do that.
There was big headlines on you're clearly not moving on from Brexit with the stuff that you're putting in the papers this morning, Rishi Sunak.
No, so I was really proud to support Brexit, and at the time there was a lot of pressure put on me and others to not do so, and I said our career would be in peril, but I did the thing that I thought was right for our country. You asked about support. I'm actually really delighted to have the support of very senior Brexiters like Liam Fox or Dominic Raab or Theresa Villiers, as well as support from across the party. But what's important now is that we deliver on the benefits of Brexit. And just to give you some examples of things I've been doing, actually, we're creating new free ports in places like Teesside that are bringing jobs and investment there.
All right, sorry, mate, I misread the fucking question.
And we're reforming all the regulations in financial services to unlock billions for our companies. So actually what I want is to see that same energy.
I don't want to rub it in, all right, mate, but it took me months, right enough, to get an appointment with a dentist.
On Brexit is since 2016,
And,
I put my
I got
shoulders
an
to the wheel
appointment
and I've delivered.
and
I delivered more
going
than
to
dozens of
schedule the
trade
shit
deals
that
at the
needs to
Department
be
of
done,
Trade,
and it will
including
be
ones that
getting
people said
done
wouldn't
in
be
the beginning of
possible
August.
with Australia and Japan. I've delivered an entirely new
But
sanctions
it
regime
certainly is
to
not
target
as
Russia.
slick
We've led
and
the free
as
world,
easy as it
leading
used
the
to be.
G7 on targeting Russia. I've also put forward a bill and put it through the first stages in Parliament to resolve the issue of the Northern Ireland Protocol, which was a naughty bill. It's because I'm somebody who gets things done in government, and that's what my colleagues see.
Just very briefly,
the forcing
very kind supporters who are coming from the Brexit wing of the party, and I'm delighted they're there. But I agree with Kemi. It's time to move on because the opportunities before us are all there. What we need to do is to release the money in our savings and make sure we're investing, turning dead money into live communities. And that's how we're going to grow the economy and beat Keir Starmer in 2 years' time.
I just want to draw a line there because I want to fit in as much as
I don't want to
possible
bring
into this
Gordon
hour, and I
Brown back.
appreciate
No
we're putting
way,
a lot
man.
in there. We're going to have something now a little bit different. We're going to give each candidate an opportunity to ask a question of one of their rivals, a short question and response. And we will start this section with Kemi Badenoch.
Thank you.
I wish she would stop doing that with her fucking glasses. It's the most annoying thing
Rishi,
ever.
I believe we need to support people who do the right thing and not let those who don't off the hook. And when we both worked in the Treasury, myself and other ministers raised the issue of COVID loan fraud, and you dismissed us, and it has cost taxpayers £17 billion. Why didn't you take us seriously?
Well, that's absolutely not right. We've taken tackling fraud incredibly seriously and set up all the systems in place to go and recover money from fraudsters, including new units, HMRC, giving new powers. And actually, at this point, dozens of arrests have already happened and billions have been recovered. But it's important.
Theo Agnew, one of your former ministers, resigned on this issue. He is supporting my campaign, not yours. Why is that?
Yeah, well, Theo's entitled to his own view, but actually I'm proud of my record. And to take us back to that moment, we were on the precipice of over 1 million businesses going to the wall, millions of people losing their jobs, and this was not a question of weeks to get money out to them. It was a question of not even days, it was hours. And actually, we tried a system which went through an enormous amount of paperwork and bureaucracy, and it took 2 weeks, and it wasn't going to work.
Come on, where's Boris, man? Telling me that Muslim women look like they're in a postbox and shit.
Since Theo left,
I think Boris is going to skydive in and say, it was all a dream, everybody. I'm really still on top. Top of the world, man.
Payment performance on that loan portfolio is actually far surpassed anyone's expectations.
I'd really like to give you the opportunity to just draw a breath there because you are the person to pose
The most exciting thing is her in her our glasses
my question's
movement.
for Liz, actually. And Liz, in your past, you've been both a Liberal Democrat and a Remainer. I was just wondering which one you regretted most.
I am somebody who was not born into the Conservative Party. I went to school in Paisley and Leeds. I went to a comprehensive school. My parents were left-wing activists, and I've been on a political journey ever since. But my fundamental belief, and the reason I am a Conservative, is I saw kids at my school being let down in Leeds. I saw them not get the opportunities, not get the proper educational standards that you might have got at your school, Rishi. I saw them having wasted potential, and I thought that waste was wrong. That's why I'm a Conservative, because I believe that everybody needs to have that opportunity. I believe in high education standards. That's why I'm proud I introduced the new Maths GCSE, which my daughter is now sitting, that gives people a better grounding. That's why I'm proud of signing all those trade deals so we can give opportunities to companies right around this country. That's why I became a Conservative.
OK, thank you very much. I'll let you draw a breath and ask the next question, Liz Truss.
My question's for Rishi.
Talking to the man on the street. Resonating with the man on the street. All
do you
these
still think that we should be doing more
frequenters
business
of
with
the
China?
House of Commoners.
You know, I actually support the view of the integrated review, the plan that you and I both sat around the cabinet table and helped draft, which highlighted that China was an enormous threat to our national security, and that's the lens in which we should throw it. And Tom deserves actually credit on the backbenches for highlighting this issue, you know, amongst others, and he was very early to it. And the right approach to that is to take the powers and the protections we need to protect our country against it, something that actually you and I, Liz, have worked together on to make sure that we have legislation
I think I've just made an executive decision when I'm finished doing this.
National infrastructure. But
I'm
also,
going to go and buy
as
myself a
the
steak.
head of MI5 recently said in a joint speech with the head of MI6, where our values and interests are protected, of course, we should engage with China as we do engage with all countries.
We're trying to keep these nice stop. Really quick, come back there, Liz Truss, and then I'll move to Penny.
You don't want to go ahead with the economic and financial dialogue with China?
My view is when we can protect ourselves, as we now can do because of the powers that we've taken, that shouldn't stop us from engaging with countries around the world.
Thank you very much, both. We'll leave that.
Making sure that we stand up for our values, open ourselves up to those in Hong Kong as we did, something I think all of us are probably proud of.
And turn to Penny Mordaunt. It's your turn to ask a question. Who's it to?
Come on, Thatcher. I'm afraid it is to Rishi. Maybe you should have got one of those spinners, and it might have been a bit fairer. But the first job of any Prime Minister is to defend the nation. And we made a manifesto.
Did she just say to get one of the spinners and play spin the bottle? She wanted to play spin the bottle. You dirty cow!
And other partners.
Fuck's sake, they want to fucking debate the fucking the world championship and shit. And she wants to play spin the bottle.
Safe, and that's why, as Chancellor, I actually made sure that the MOD, our defence, got the largest uplift in defence spending since the end of the Cold War. I singled out the Ministry of Defence for special treatment in the middle of COVID so that they had that certainty, they had that record uplift, so they could do everything that they can to keep us safe. So I've already increased defence spending, and because of the investments we're making, it's forecast to increase even more in the future. But my approach to this is simple. We should take a threat-based approach to defence spending, not fixate on arbitrary targets, but do whatever is required, and that's what I will do. Invest whatever is required to keep our country safe. That's my commitment as Prime Minister.
Thank you very much indeed. Tom Tugendhat, your question.
Well, I'm not going to pick up on defence, just to say that 10,000 troops being made unemployed is not exactly the defence.
OK, would you like to pose your question?
I will pose my question. It's actually to Penny, if you don't mind. There we go.
Cocks and willies.
That I think are important.
See, everybody knew exactly I was mimicking Alan Carr.
On their side now, not in the years to come when we're promising income cuts when they're convenient.
Look at my big teeth and I'm so gay.
Is if you're asking people to support you as Prime Minister, which is what we're doing tonight,
I'm not a fan of Alan Carr.
Details of the plans that you're laying out, because surely people need to know.
And I didn't know he'd done politics on the side either.
Because Keir Starmer won't win the general election, and we won't be able to give that space now.
Alan Carr.
I think there's a couple of things that we need.
Well, he's butt fucked his way to the top, hasn't he?
One of them is me as the Prime Minister because the polling shows that I'm the only one that can beat Keir Starmer and take the fight to Labour. I beat him all over the country. I beat him in London. I'm polling best in Scotland with young people, red wall, blue wall seats. That's why I am subject to a great deal of focus from your
Penny,
supporters.
I respect you deeply, but that's not...
The second thing we need is we need a vision and narrative to take us from where we've come from, all the work that we have done together, which has been good. Because of COVID, because of all sorts of other things, we have not been able to move as fast as we would have liked. Unless we have that narrative, folks, unless we can also set out a vision for how we're going to get that Brexit dividend and deliver for people, we will not win the next general election. I can do that. I'm the most prepared candidate in this race.
OK, thank you very much, all of you, for your questions. A couple of quick questions now, just a quick run round to see what you say. If you become Prime Minister, you'll be leading Britain on the international stage. If you were Prime Minister, would you sit down with Vladimir Putin at the G20? Yes or no, Penny Mordaunt?
Well, the Romulan might know
No,
because he's good at he's skilled in intergalactic warfare, so he might be good at taking out Putler.
Not the right answer now.
Kemi Badenoch.
No, I wouldn't either. It hasn't worked for all the people who've tried before. I wouldn't waste my time.
Thank you, Liz Truss.
I think it is very important that we have the voices of the free world facing down Vladimir Putin. I was prepared to face down Sergei Lavrov. I'm prepared to say to Putin directly and call him out in front of those very important swing countries like India and Indonesia. So I would go there and I would call Putin out.
OK, Rishi Sunak, very briefly, yes or no?
Hello, Putler!
Actually, I walked out.
Shut up, bitch! Poo-poo-poo! Two to the head.
Thank you
Dead.
very much indeed. Quick fire question now on climate.
Shut that bitch
Today
up.
we have
Quick.
our first ever red warming for extreme heat. It's rising already inside and outside this studio. The severe effects of climate change clearly becoming apparent.
No,
Your
come
COP
on,
president,
man.
Alok Sharma has threatened to resign if you fail to lead on the climate crisis we face. Can you confirm there will be no backing down, absolutely no backing down on our commitment to net zero by 2050 if you become Prime Minister? Penny.
I'm committed to that, but it mustn't clobber people. Our plan, it has to support our levelling up and industrial strategy and our energy resilience.
OK, Tom Higgett.
I'm committed to making sure that we deliver the nuclear reactors to keep us green, that we deliver the nuclear reactors that are going to
I think they're only doing it at 10
the carbon
bells.
capture and storage in Scotland, and change the way we do wind farms, and so that we can actually deliver quicker. Because at the moment, the problem is we're seeing energy price rises hurting everybody, and that's what's making life more difficult for everyone now and will be in the winter.
It was supposed to be a legally binding target. Kemi Badenoch.
The truth is, Julie, we set a target for when none of us will be here to be accountable for it. If there are things in the plan that will bankrupt this country, I will change them. If there are things in the plan that will make life difficult for ordinary people, I will change them. I do believe in climate change, but we have to do it in a way that is sustainable and that will lead other countries. If we damage our economy, they will not follow us, and then we will.
Did you hear that? She believes in climate change, but we need to do it in a way that's sustainable. Sounds like she's actually want to change the climate, but we have to do it in a way that's sustainable.
Take it out of general taxation so that we can relieve the pressure and find better ways to deliver net zero.
Rishi Sunak.
Yes, because this is about our children. I have two young girls, and this is about the inheritance that we leave them and everyone's grandchildren. The same way I care about the burden of borrowing and debt that we leave them, I care about the environment. So yes, I do support it, but we need to bring people with us. And if we go too hard and too fast, then we will lose people, and that's no way to get there. And I think we can get there in the way that's about growth, it's about jobs, it's about the industries of the future, and that's the way to do it.
Briefly back to Kemi Badenoch.
If we bankrupt ourselves, we will be leaving a terrible future for our children, and I will not allow that.
I just think it's a bit of a shame that we haven't yet financed the carbon capture and storage elements off the northeast coast of Scotland when we're shipping carbon over to Norway, and we should have been doing it years ago.
OK, thank you very much, all of you, for that. I know it's a quick run round this subject. We're almost at the end of our hour together. We've heard a lot about how you think you'd like to move the country forward tonight. The last time people went to the polls in this country, Britain was in a completely different place. We've lived through a pandemic. It's been an extraordinary time of upheaval. Should you win, isn't the only way for you to get a mandate for your new vision to put it to the people and call a general election? Yes or no, Penny Mordaunt?
We all stood on the same manifesto. We all have to come together, and it's a shared manifesto and a shared vision.
Thank you.
No, we have a manifesto to deliver, and I intend to deliver it, because by showing leadership and showing commitment, we can bring the party together, bring the country together, end this disunity, and actually have a clean start.
Thank you.
I think people are tired of broken promises. We made some promises. We should keep them. They're also tired of all
Yes
the
or no to
upheaval
general election?
and no to a general election for that reason.
Thank
we need to give people some stability. They're tired of all the upheaval.
No, because we
No
might
to a
lose,
general election.
bitches.
We need 100% of our effort on delivering for the people of Britain. I'm the person that can do that.
Rishi Sunak.
No, we faced an enormous economic challenge, and we now need someone who's got the grip and the experience to deal with that.
Maria, JB, Jeffrey,
OK, thank you for your observations. I think that's a resounding no to an imminent general election. They're clearly not that keen on the idea, but that is it. We have come to the end of our debate. It's now time for our candidates' closing statements, and for that, we'll turn first to Rishi Sunak.
We have a choice. Do we confront the challenges we face with honesty and responsibility, or not? I'm standing because I believe I'm the best person to lead our country and the only candidate who can take the fight to Labour and win the next election for our party.
Not a
The stakes
Romulan.
for our country
A
are
Romulan.
high, and only I have the
A
experience needed to deal
Romulan.
with this
Easy for me to
economic
say.
crisis. But if we take on our problems with honesty and determination, Britain's potential is limitless. My parents worked hard to give me the opportunity of a better future, and that's what I would do for your children and grandchildren as your Prime Minister.
Thank you. Penny Mordaunt.
If you're still watching this debate, well done. I wish I had a little less about us and a bit more
Well
about
done,
you.
bitches.
I know you've got serious concerns, and these are really uncertain times. Our model of politics is broken. Our model of political leadership is broken. You need someone
definitely
who
getting a
knows
steak.
why it needs to change and has a plan to do that. And that's me.
Thank you very much, Penny Mordaunt.
Right, who's
now
going to
we'll
be the
turn for
most
a closing
entertaining?
statement
Alan
to
Carr, I
Tom
think, man. He's got the jokes.
Thank you very much for watching this evening. This evening hasn't actually been about
penises
us,
and
in many ways it
vaginas
hasn't been
are
about the Conservative
stinky.
Party. It's been about you, and about who you need as your next Conservative Prime Minister. Because the reality is this country has been facing problems abroad and is now facing challenges at home and around the world. And the government, I'm afraid, has led to a lack of
We
trust.
can't have a Prime Minister that looks like Alan fucking Carr. That's just no
We're all asking the right
cricket.
questions, but the real answer is we need a clean start. Because we need to restore confidence in our government
clean arse, did he
and in
say there?
ourselves. We can do it. I'm ready to serve. I'm ready to lead.
Tom Tugendhat, thank you very much. Turning now for a closing statement to Liz Truss.
The next election is going to be about the economy. We only have 2 years to show the British people we can deliver. I can hit the ground running at number 10, driving economic growth by cutting taxes and delivering tough reform. I've shown what I can do on Brexit, on trade and on Ukraine. I've shown that I'm trusted to deliver.
Remember,
Britain's best
guys
days
and
lie ahead.
girls,
We need to reject
if you do
the voices of
appreciate
decline.
the shit, get
And
some
as
shits and giggles,
Conservatives, we
stick
need
a
to
wee
stop
thumbs up.
apologising
It is much
for who we are.
appreciated.
I will lead a government of all the
Aye,
talents
Maria, fuck the
that
BNP.
unleashes the full potential of our
Happy with
great
that shit.
country.
Liz Truss, thank you very much. And for the last of our closing statements, the woman in the
Penny
middle.
is a trounce.
I said that I was the candidate who would tell you the truth. And I am. I'm doing this not for myself, but for the future. I have 3 children, and I want the very best future for them.
Oh,
It is
go kiss a
vitally
baby,
important
why don't
that we
you?
create a strong, united kingdom that is confident in itself.
She's another one.
I
She,
moved
her
to this
and
country
Alan
nearly
Carr
30 years ago,
fucking
and the
are
United Kingdom
both
is a beacon
doing
of
this
shining
just to
light
get
in the
better,
world.
better
That's why so
dentistry
many
in
people want to
Britain.
come here, and we need to make sure that we keep it so. So a future that is confident,
Just-
bright, strong, secure, with a wealthier economy. That's what I'm about. I'm the candidate for the future, and I'm here to be honest with you. I can make a change and change things for the better.
Kemi Badenoch, thank you very much indeed for that.
Margaret,
And
well,
all of you can breathe a
K9,
sigh of
I
relief
would
at the
disagree
end
in
of
the sense that Margaret
fast-paced
Thatcher
hour. It
could
brings our
fucking
evening
deliver
together
a
to
speech.
close. We've covered
That
everything
Liz
from
Truss
the economy
canny.
to Brexit to
That
character
man dressing
to
in blue,
Putin
she's even
and
dressing
beyond.
like Margaret
Thank you
Thatcher
very
and
much,
all
all
that.
of you, for taking part here this evening, and that brings us to a close. But that political debate will continue, of course, across the media. Also, of
I can
course,
almost
on
taste my
ITV
steak
News
now.
at 10 tonight.
Finish
This
this
week,
first and wrap this
Conservative
shit up.
MPs will choose the final 2 candidates before party members choose their new leader and our next Prime Minister. Thanks to all the candidates for braving the heat and to you for watching at home. Good night.
What a pile of shit, eh? They definitely laid off the fucking monkey in the cage throwing shit stuff. Oh, Jesus Jones. No, that's better. I definitely think they laid off. Do you know what, Jeffrey? The steak I'm going to buy is actually $5. I know it sounds a bit indulgent, but it's a lovely steak. It's Tesco Finest, and I think it's a sirloin. Typically they might have some other prime morsels, and I'll probably just have that with some mustard. We Britons reject this bunch of idiots. Well, I don't want to brag or anything, but I'm ahead of the game. More sure. I've held my own election twice. Fucking twice. Then again, everybody on the boob tubes, everybody, oh yeah, I've told that about it, and they cunt turns up, so you're standing there yourself, and I done it. And I declared, I done a declaration of independence, which is exactly, and if you go and stick into your Google, people that set up their own countries, it's more common than you might think. And people get away with all sorts of crazy shit because of legal fucking, because like, if X, Y, or Z can set up a country, why can't you? Right? So I've set up Estonia. I've got my own land. I'm a lord of the British Empire. I'm working on it. Breaking away for this shit. That's why I don't give a fuck, man. And it's kind of like, I remember saying this back in the day and people were wetting their knickers because they couldn't understand it. Selfishness will save the world. See, if everybody just fucking stuck to their own shit and stopped poking their nose in other people's business and let people get on with what they want to do, and with the sort of average don't piss on your own doorstep, don't piss on other people's doorsteps kind of idea, you know? Easier said than done. I know it doesn't quite work out that way, but it's something to work towards. And mentally, I'm no longer enslaved by anybody or anything. I'm kind of completely free in that sense. And nobody lords it over me at all. That's why I make people's heads hurt, because like, I'll say something they agree with, then I'll say something they don't agree with, you know? And then when because at some point, some way, if everybody's, a lot of people have subscribed to somebody on a pedestal at some point, whether it be Max Egan, David Icke, Alex Jones, Paul Joseph Watson, who was Max Egan's fucking criminal partner, can't I remember his name now. Ken O'Keefe. Hey, remember it? He wasn't Irish, he was American, and his name wasn't Ken O'Keefe, but he called himself Ken O'Keefe. But hey ho, A bunch of fucking scam artists, man. And my problem is I treated the alternative media the same way that the alternative media told you, showed you how to do with the mainstream media. And then when you done it on them, you were like, oh, you're just part of this. Look, he's a shell, he's this, he's that. The amount of lunatics that I've got to some fucking been subjected to in my journey through the fucking boob tubes, man. And I mean absolute fucking window-licking fucking lunatics. Fucking Jesus and toast, man. That's the least of your fucking worries with these loon balls, man. There's no fucking fat menopausal woman trying to take out their fucking woes in the world and fucking internet land. It's fucking cunts that can't get their end away who's sitting in their house listening to fucking 1989 techno shit. Fucking 24/7. Weirdos. Anyway, I digress. It's almost as bad. Almost as bad as the Conservative Party fucking shit show. So choose your... I wish I could get this up. For some reason I can't get it up. Right, I can show you this. In fact... Right. No, as stupid as I'm making it. Right. Choose a clown or die, slave, democracy, scam, aka democracy. And that's what we're getting served up just now. And I don't know, man, why I can't fucking find that on my channel, but anyway. Can't actually go more. Shit, sucks. Anywho, that was a thumbnail, and I loved that thumbnail, man. You know, like, just the guns at your head, choose a clown. And I was like, I'm not choosing a clown, I'm getting my own. I've still got my ballot box down there. I've voted, held 2 elections, 2 general elections myself. Oh, the town was mental tonight. Jerry Cinnamon is playing tonight in Glasgow. If you don't know, he was playing last night as well. I didn't know, I wasn't aware. I knew he was playing, but I wasn't aware of the time schedule. And I was walking through the town tonight, and I was like, oh my god, I feel like I'm at a fucking under 18 school disco. What's the fuck's going on? Jerry Cinnamon. Trying to get a quiet pint was not happening. Right, y'all. Hopefully you've enjoyed the wee bits of shits and giggles. Maria, long time no speak. Hopefully you're alright. More sure the future of UK is to build an empire. Mate, been there, done it. What do you mean, build an empire? That, like, I don't know. I don't know if you're at the wind up, which I suspect probably is the most likely, or you're actually got some sort of a serious fucking miscommunication with what's happened with history. Like, Britain was the biggest colonial power, the biggest empire when Europe ruled the fucking world, and that still happens. Why do you think Britain didn't join the Euro and came out of the European Union? And as this was happening, we were cementing our Anglo-American alliances. Because the City of London was getting challenged. And if you challenge the City of London, shit starts getting blown up, y'all. It's just the way it is. Whether you agree with it or don't agree with it, it is just the way it is. Maria, don't get wound up. We need an empire from west to east. Yay! Genghis Khan there. Nah, man, what we need is independent anarchy. That's what I would love. Independent anarchy. You know, just hundreds of wee principalities. City-states used to kind of happen back in the day, you know? There would be just a king dong that ruled a big ring around it. I'd be happy with that, man. It's the centralisation of power, but that's always going to happen, because if you centralise power, you become a bigger power, and the bigger power can usurp the smaller powers and just become even a bigger power. Keeping everybody happy, and it's just the way it is. And I know everybody wants to sing Kumbaya fucking Ya and have hemp Jesus sandals and shit. It's just not the way the world works. I'm not saying it will never mutate into something better, because I would argue obviously it has. Just going by knowing history. Don't tell anybody that though. And let's hope it keeps morphing. But at the moment, you just need to look at the history as and see if you look at history and how the peoples of the past were controlled, then you understand and feel relieved, enlightened about how all this shit and how they are attempting to control and coerce and whatnot people nowadays. And then you might be able to rise above it, and then just realise getting your knickers in the twist is part of them controlling you. So learn the game and play it, or body swerve it, one of the two, you know. Don't fucking just sit there and get angry. I hate this fucking game, because that is the hardest part of the game. Isn't even playing the game. Scared enough to care about the things that you do. It's a wee crying shame. Here comes the rain. Anyway. Oh man, that beat to me. This is the beginning of the rest of your life. Stop believing in flat earth and get on with your life. There's weather outside, there's no chemtrails inside. You know it could be a canter if you understood the truth or banter more than half of the time. Anyway. There's a fucking song in that. Hey, Magic Magnets, how you doing, my man? Maria, you're saying the Brit fucked my country with the US, right? I was out the other night in a boozer. Can't mind if I went for a piss or went to the bar to get another round. One of the two came back, and there was this she informed this 51-year-old woman who had just been cheated on by her guy or whatever, and she was obviously out fucking, right? So she was fucking trying to crack onto my mate, right? So I've rocked up. I did, it was pints. Put the pints down and stuff. Then next thing I know, she's Irish, right? Then next thing we know, we're just chatting away. Oh, so what do you do? Oh, I work for the government. The SNP, and then it was like a fucking nationalist debate, and then it was like, next thing you know, I'm telling her, do you know the Irish were known as the Huns during World War II because she was filled up the Nazi submarines? Woo! Don't do that to a menopausal 51-year-old whose fucking husband just cheated on her and dumped her, who was out in the fucking pool fucking mad with it. You'll get your face spat on me. And then next it was like, are you a proddy? Are you a proddy? Now it just so happened the dude that was way happens to be a Roman Catholic Celtic fan. And I'm a proddy that didn't stop I'm just a Protestant that didn't stop protesting. And this didn't compute with her. And it didn't compute by the fucking Irish guy. Because she was from Ireland, so it was like tribal for her. You know, she couldn't understand how people come from different. It was fucking hilarious, man. And that is the clean version. And that, honestly, is where the story ends. Anyway, it was well funny. Oh man, empires come and go, y'all, man, and it's like Monty Python said, "What did the fucking Romans do for us?" Have you ever seen the Facebook meme when it shows you 2,500-year-old Roman road? Then it shows you like a fucking, like, I don't know, Glasgow High Street full of holes and all that falling apart. The Roman road like shiny. I know it's could be said to be a wee bit of a manipulation. Right, thanks you all, man. Please put a thumbs up. Tune in tomorrow when I will do a Wag the Dog news. At 1 o'clock. I'm thinking of maybe moving it forward to 12 bells, but I don't know. And that's if it's not such a nice day, I get out on my bike or something. Because that is a strong possibility. Something that I might want to do. And I'm going to go and buy myself a fucking steak. Thanks for joining, y'all. Thanks for putting up with the absolute boring pish. I don't know. I choose my leaders by who's going to entertain me the most. I don't believe there's really nothing else going to make much difference. So I just want to be entertained with my masters. I want my clowns to be funny. I want my clowns to be funny. That's what I'm saying. So, who's going to be funniest out of them? Alan Carr is dull as dishwater. So is Margaret Thatcher. So is Thus. So is Sunak, but he does look like a Romulan. And the black woman just needed better orthodontist when she was younger. Fuck, who do you choose? Oh my god! That's our Prime Ministers, folks! Anyway, enjoy. Don't slit your throat yet. Hopefully see you tomorrow at 1. Catchies! Clips, clips! And remember, citizens, always subscribe, hit the bell, everything will be well, get the notifications as well. And $19.95 plus shipping and handling will keep you out ahead.